The Position of Women in the FIGU by Brigitt Keller, Switzerland.
Macho-like behavior, arrogance towards the female sex, not wanting to soil oneself with inferior women's work, reducing women to their sexuality, thinking that they can rule over them, regarding them as personal property, and generally attesting to their stupidity. Such things are no longer present here in the FIGU. This does not mean that our men are all dream men. Like us female beings, they are also human beings with minor or major deficiencies, which it is still up to them, like us, to remedy. So even here in the FIGU, there are still rare specimens whose thoughts are sometimes boorish, and which express themselves in such words and actions. There are some who display a touch of impudence in order to appear more important to others. Laziness appears in individual cases, and there is also occasionally insistence on being right, and arrogance. Not all of these attributes are limited to men. So much in advance, so as not to give the impression that we are a collection of wonder boys and wonder girls. The large proportion of our FIGU men live a healthy thinking towards life in equality. It is characterized by decency, respect, cleanliness, and chivalry. If one considers that a neutral spirit form is resident in all of us, which can inhabit an opposite sex body in the next or a following incarnation, regardless of our present sex, then this seems logical and reasonable. Also, we are all encouraged to think and act independently, autonomously, and with personal responsibility. All of us who belong to FIGU are instructed in the spiritual teaching, creation energy teaching, and therefore we have been able to work out the realization that man and woman are meant by creation to be in absolute equality. Equality is not, however, identical with equality or egalitarianism, for there are many serious differences between the sexes, which ensure that one sex can and should complement the other in all areas of life. Not only the physical constitution, but also the male and female psyche, and consequently the thoughts, are in large parts of a different nature. This is quite decisive to know, because if a man assumes that the woman feels and thinks like him, then he will be badly disappointed, and it is the same the other way round. Partly due to thousands of years of oppression of women, but also partly due to the different abilities given by nature, such as genetic and hormonal control, the consciousness-based and manual abilities of the sexes differ, which is also often reflected in the choice of profession. Women are, by their nature, more sensitive, more balanced, more loving, and more motherly. She is able to create home and atmosphere and have a soothing effect on the male psyche. The man is by his nature physically stronger, more aggressive, more libidinous, more rational, and physically able to protect the woman. Through the teachings presented to us by Billy, and above all through his daily example, a spirit has developed among us at Hinterschmidruti over all these years that is born of mutual respect and decency. By empathetic understanding, clean, open speech, and a spontaneous, honest willingness to help. Love is a big word, but also love, rudimentary or already a little more concrete, often makes one happy in the interpersonal sphere. I am not talking about love as partners. Of course, there is that too. Various group members have come together to form good communities. Another aspect of our life together in the group that is worth mentioning is our often good, profound, or also funny and light-hearted hours that we spend after work learning, discussing, or joking, without any innuendos causing embarrassment or unpleasant situations. To illustrate our life together a bit more, here are 2 episodes that happened. One Saturday, I was assigned to cook. I had already prepared the ingredients for the planned lunch when my father called to tell me that my mother was in a worrying condition. It was clear that nothing would come of the cooking today because a call for help from one's aged parents had priority. Spontaneously, and without fuss, Atlant, who had just finished his breakfast and was therefore still in the kitchen, offered to cook for me and take over my kitchen duties. I thought that was just amazingly sweet of him. He certainly had other ideas of how to spend the day. A week later, first weekend, 34 people at the table, in our little kitchen. Philia, who usually cooks with me, was ill, and out of an unintentional omission, no full-day replacement was appointed for her. However, instead of being almost knotted up in work, I was given so much help that day, first and foremost by Freddie and Eva, but others who could spare time also pitched in, that I had less stress than usual on a first Saturday in the kitchen. What is also important for me to add at this point is the following. About 2 years ago, with Billy's and the group's agreement, and with Ptah's and Quetzal's blessing, I was released from all Sunday duties and the night watch because my private situation was so precarious that a way had to be found for a special arrangement. Since then, this has meant for every single member to take over my share of the services. This is no easy task because these services are not primarily for our pleasure. Who likes to get up in the middle of the night to do guard duty and crawl out of bed early on Sunday morning? Not a single member of our group has ever said a word about this to me. Since we are often accused by outsiders of being a sect, I have to ask, in which sect would such tolerance be lived? For me, this selfless kindness is unique and priceless. To come back to the kitchen work of the men in question, one might think, yes, such a man likes to be in the kitchen for a few hours. A bit of courting between the cooking pots is quite nice. But even if our men are normal men and responsive to female charms, the willingness to help has nothing to do with that. It is a given, regardless of the person who spontaneously needs help. Apart from such assignments, we have divided our work according to physical strength and abilities. Each of us knows what he or she has to do. The men take on the heavier work in the house and yard, in the forest, and in the field. The computer and other specialists ensure that everything runs smoothly there, as do the various women who specialize in this. The preparation of the writings occupies an important space with us. Billy stands lonely at the top in the tireless writing of new books. With a few exceptions who are also eager to write, the rest of us members do our best to crumble in an article now and then. Both sexes are represented at the proofreading sessions on 2 evenings a week, although not in large numbers. The work in the print shop is also done by men. We women take care of the physical well-being of the residents, group members and guests. Though there are also men who cook, we keep the house and garden in order and ensure a mostly harmonious living environment. But we must not forget that Billy is the center of our household. He is the soul, the heart, the home port, the gentle, modest, affectionate, straightforward, and, when necessary, thunderous house father who holds everything together and is there for us day and night in his immeasurable patience, instructing and advising us in an exemplary manner. To ensure that our organization runs smoothly at all times, the nights and Sundays and holidays are also in firm and safe hands, as already mentioned above. At night, night guards always patrol the grounds and the house, 2 in number per night, male or female. On Sundays and holidays, 3 members are present at the center throughout the day, keeping the house, dom, and yard tidy and clean, preparing meals for the rest of us, and taking care of the visitors who come to visit us. These Sunday services are indicative of our good teamwork and the mutual helpfulness of men and women. Cleaning, cooking, washing up, looking after visitors. Everyone is equally involved in all the activities. That is absolutely normal. And these hours spent together also promote cohesion and a good atmosphere among each other immensely. But this does not rule out the occasional spat and 2 or 3 getting up against each other. Arguing also has to be learned and promotes independence and teaches us to maintain decency and respect for our neighbor, even in critical situations. We in the FIGU have a role model function, which we strive to live up to every day, because as Jeremiah's Godhelp said in ancient times, what is to shine in the fatherland must begin in the home. And not only in the fatherland, but in the whole beautiful earthly world, a spirit shall one day reign that reflects that for which creation created all the prerequisites in us. A life in love, knowledge, harmony, peace, and wisdom, whereby also the disregard for the female sex, so long oppressed and trampled underfoot, will be a thing of the distant past.